We don't have the countdown. Oh,
What are
here.
we gonna do? Oh no, no
I don't
countdown.
know. No countdown. What
Okay, here you
the
go.
heck?
5, 4, 3. Oh, I forgot the one. Anyway,
Hi,
that's not
Lisa.
gonna sound so good on the audio. Hi,
Oh, that's true.
Christina. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Lisa?
Good. You sound really good.
Oh, good.
Like
Yeah,
the sound quality is really good. I feel like my sound quality is not very good today, but you sound great.
you're coming in nice and clear on my end, so it's all good.
Fabulous.
You
All
know, and
right.
and what would baking scraps be without technical
There's no
challenges?
technical issues this time. No, all is well. Everything is going smoothly thus far. I guess we'll
What
find out as we as we
was
go.
that? 16 episodes in, we finally figured it out.
It was partly that I was just trying so hard to make sure that I was working with that program that was initially suggested to us. And then once I realized we didn't need to use that program to actually do our podcast, it was like, oh, this is much easier. So,
Yeah.
welcome to our new format. We are using Zoom. We will no longer be cutting the audio episodes down to 1 hour. We will be giving full length episodes, whether video or audio. So
Perfect.
excellent.
All the content,
All the time.
all the time. That's our new tagline. All the
Is
content,
it? Okay,
all
good.
the time. No,
The sweet talk, all the content, all the time.
all the sweet talk,
Sweet
all of
man.
it, all the time.
Full batch of sweet
No, we got to
stuff.
work.
Yeah,
I got to
no.
work on that.
This is another thing we have to workshop. Spreading bad, backing, breaking
Oh,
bread.
that was, I mean, it was right there.
I
It
know,
should
I
have
know.
been
It should have
that.
worked, but
But that's
anyway,
what happens when it's a long day of
we
baking.
had a
And
very long day, and I have
yeah.
had a long day today. My
Oh.
back is really bothering me. My stomach
Mm.
is really bothering me. I'm
Mm.
It's probably a good thing we're doing this instead of me eating dinner because I don't think I should put anything in there right now. My poor tummy's just really complaining, but
Oh, no. Well, I hope you're feeling better, my friend.
thank you. Have you been baking anything?
Well, as you know, I'm in my bread era right now, and so
Mhm.
I'm doing everything bready. So sourdough, English muffins, bagels, focaccia, all of it. So
Wow.
Larry's really inspired me to just get in there, and it's fall, right? So,
Yeah.
you kind of feel
Not
like
yet.
you, well, it is. Well, okay, so
It's starting
technically
to feel like
not.
fall.
It is, right? The weather's definitely changed and it's just cool and you just want to be cozy. And for me,
True.
that's bread.
By the
Yeah.
time this airs, it will definitely be fall. We will be
Yes.
solidly into fall. So bread and sweater weather and
Sweater weather.
pumpkin spice latte, which
For
most
those,
people seem to like.
I think, I think it's again one of those polarizing discussions that we had on, love it or leave it.
Yeah.
People either really love it or people just don't. They
Hmm.
don't see the point of it. And so I think it comes down to what your personal
Personal
preference is.
preference. I
Yeah.
think a
Like
lot of people
anything.
liked it. It seemed like every response that I saw, people were liking it, but maybe I
Well, I
missed some.
think the online, the one that we did on our stories, I think it was about a 50-50.
50-50 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think there were a few more lovers of PSL on our Instagram stories. So
Okay.
yeah,
So it
yeah,
truly
because
is
we kind of do the two
polarizing.
polls.
Yeah.
It kind of is, right? And I
Yeah.
think people agreed that pumpkin's great. It's
Hmm.
just, the
Oh,
spice in their coffee's not so
right.
wonderful.
It
And
was
it's too
the
sweet. It's
chai
a
that
lot.
everybody seemed to really like.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Chai was
Chai
not as
was
polarizing as we thought it might be.
correct. 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 Yes. And
Very
you gotta
true.
love chai. And you know what? It's Taylor Swift's favorite thing to put in a cookie. So how
So
could we all be wrong?
it is good in cake and cupcakes. I
Hmm.
have one friend of mine who constantly orders caramel chai mini cupcakes from me
Oh,
for her
yeah.
hubby. He
Yeah.
likes the salted caramel chai
Very
combination.
nice.
It
Yeah,
is
that is
it is
good.
very nice. It's very, very tasty.
Yeah, I love chai. And you know my love for baking with tea anyway. It's one of my
Hmm.
favorite things to do. So
Yes,
it just
which is
adds.
kind of
Yeah.
appropriate given that our guest today actually collects teapots. I'm
Teapots.
curious as to whether she likes tea as well. And we'll find out
I'm
when we
sure
do
we
our
will find
this
out.
or that. So,
Absolutely. And before we get to our special guest for
mhm,
this week, how about you? What have you been baking, Miss Stewart?
nothing. Not much
Nothing.
at all.
Hmm.
I mean, yes, I have been baking some things, but I haven't finished much of anything. I've just been kind of like baking the stuff that needs to be baked and frozen for later. I
Yep.
have a birthday cake. I actually canceled a couple of cakes because I was like, no, I'm doing too much and I need to know where to draw the line. So I have a going away cake that I will be making tomorrow for my nurse partner who has a new job. So she is leaving me all on my lonesome, and we're
Aw.
gonna celebrate her with a chocolate salted caramel toffee bits cake.
Yum, yum,
So
yum, yum, yum.
yeah, but thank you for asking.
Oh, good.
And
Oh,
our
awesome.
guest is in the waiting room,
All
so
right. Well,
let's welcome her.
would you like to introduce our special guest? And I'm so excited for
Yes.
this one,
Here we're
as always.
continuing on. We have had a couple of non-winners weeks, but they are winners in our books. Had to say
Everybody's
that
a
part.
winner
Yeah, everybody's a
that
winner.
comes and joins us on
Yes.
Baking Scraps. So if you want to be a winner, let us know. We're
But
happy to have you.
exactly. But today we have the winner of season 6 of the Great Canadian Baking Show, Lauren Tjoe. And I'm very
Woohoo.
excited to welcome her. So let's.
Lauren.
Hi,
Hi,
Lauren.
Hi. How are you?
doing well. How are you?
Oh, so happy to
Mostly
have you
good.
here.
Very happy to have you here. I've been rushing
Happy
around
to be
trying to
here.
get stuff done and trying to get ready to meet you. And I'm really, really excited to see you on our screen. So thank you for coming to join us.
There you
Good.
go.
So welcome. We always
Thank
start
you.
out by asking, what have you been baking lately?
Well, Mid-Autumn Festival is happening on the 17th, so I am deep, deep, deep in mooncake prep. I'm doing a pop-up on the 15th, and every year I think I like forget how much work it is.
Yeah, I
And
bet.
I'm like on day 5 maybe of like I don't even know how many hours like I've
Oh,
spent on these mooncakes, but like
Oh,
we're on the last batch.
good.
I've got like 2 more trays to go in and then we're done. And
oh,
then I have a year to forget how bad it
I know.
is.
And then you'll do it again next year. And isn't that the
Exactly.
crazy thing? Isn't that the crazy thing about it is that you really do. It's like you're so involved. You spend all this time and energy on a special project and it's so much work. And when you're in it, it almost becomes not so fun. But you finally get through it. And then
All you
you're right.
remember is
It's
the
like
fun.
yeah, and then a year goes by and you totally forget about all that because you get to share all of these goodies with these people who really so appreciate it and are
Yes.
totally thrilled to have one of your beautiful mooncake creations every single season. And so that probably makes it worthwhile to keep doing this.
It makes it so worthwhile. And just like the process of coming up with like flavors and recipes, it's always, I just enjoy that process so much. So even if I'm not really loving the amount of physical like effort it takes to like punch them all down, I at the end it's very, very satisfying to see it all
Mhm.
come together.
I bet it is. And you've been doing like a number of these pop-ups every once in a while. Like you were doing it when you were here on the West Coast, and
Mhm.
then you've been doing it since you relocated
Yes,
to
yes.
Toronto. So how often do you actually do one of these pop-ups?
So, when I was back at UBC, it was kind of once a month was my cadence. Here, with work, I've been like, it hasn't really been a regular cadence.
Mhm.
I did 2 last month and then one before that, maybe. The summer is definitely like a good time to be doing things, and I'm trying to,
Mhm.
capitalize on the fact that it's still like nice weather and people are still walking around.
Yeah.
Um, but hopefully going forward, I'll do kind of one every couple months
Yeah.
because I just love the whole coming up with a menu and a theme,
Mhm.
um, and getting to do really creative. things in kind of a bulk bake.
Yeah. Like, how do
Yeah.
you plan? How many people do you plan for? Or how many items do you plan for when
Mhm.
you're doing a pop-up? Like a variety of baked goods and then a certain number of each of them?
Yeah. Yeah. So like I've had to kind of understand my audience a little bit. So when I was back at UBC, I would sell out kind of no matter how much I brought. And so I was bringing like upwards of like 800 individual things.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Here,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
exhausting. Just thinking
That's
about
yeah,
it.
a
yeah. So it was like my prep would start like weeks in advance, like setting the menu, then doing the grocery shopping, just kind of like planning out my time schedules.
Mhm.
And then like it would be 3 days back to back of like 16 hours like baking.
Wow.
And, and that's another, like, that's where I'm like, why am I doing this? And then at the end, it's like, oh, that was so much fun. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, Here, I do a little bit less. So I'll maybe do like a double batch of, I'll probably have like 8 to 10 things on a menu. It's
Hmm.
still a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Um, I tell myself it's not, and then
And
I'm
then you
like,
have to
oh,
do it.
packing it up, and I'm like, this is a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, because I'm just like kind of at a not a random coffee shop, but like in the city, there's
Hmm.
so many other options, not like feeding like really hungry university students. It's a little bit different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
totally makes
Mhm.
Yeah.
sense.
So were you doing these pop-ups before you were on the Great Canadian Baking Show, or this is just like you've kind of realized that you can, you have a name that people recognize, and you have a lot of people probably very eager to taste your baking.
Yeah, so this was completely after Bake Off. I didn't even know what a pop-up was. Chi started doing them, and
Yeah.
then um, our like we've got a few friends who also do the same thing. I would say that in Toronto, it's pretty big. Like you have small micro bakeries or chefs doing pop-ups.
Mhm.
It's a pretty big thing in the food scene. Out in Vancouver, not so much. Like you might have a pop-up dinner, but like the idea or the concept of a like bakery pop-up isn't super well known yet.
Mhm.
So I think that that was just kind of like a novelty
Right.
for some people or
Hmm.
the cafes that I was working with. So that was also good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense. Oh,
very cool.
I had a dog or maybe a husband. I'm not, somebody was in my peripheral there.
Uh,
Yeah.
so take us through your baking journey. How did you start baking?
Yeah. So I grew up baking with my mom and my grandma. We did kind of just like the usual, like chocolate chip cookies, blueberry muffins, that kind of baking. And then in grade 8, I stopped eating gluten
Mhm.
for health reasons and just very intolerant. And I stopped kind of baking. Because gluten-free baking in
Okay.
2014 was not good.
Mhm.
It's not what it is
Um,
today, is it?
no,
It's come a
completely
long way.
different. Yeah, I was like eating sand most of the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, and then during my I was in first year university when the pandemic started, and I came home and I was kind of like, I don't know what to do. Like I need some kind of outlet, and
Mhm.
baking was just that outlet, and it became very obsessive. And then 2 years later, I was on the show.
That's
That is amazing.
quick.
That is super
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, and I read that when you applied to be on the show the first time, you didn't even think the application had gone through.
No, because I had submitted the application like a day before it closed because I was like, oh, it's an application window. They just like kind of take everything at the end and then they go forward, but that's not really the case. Like they've got it's a continuous process.
Mhm.
So I don't think mine was even. And I wouldn't have wanted it to be really considered. I was not at a point where things would have worked out well for me.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that we've heard several people say,
Mhm.
actually, like the first time I applied, I didn't get in, and I'm actually really glad because it
So
took,
glad.
the next however long, and for you it was just one more cycle, I guess, before
Hmm.
you actually got to be in. But you must have really applied yourself in order to improve as much as what we saw on the screen, which
Yeah,
was beautiful and so
Oh, thank you.
impressive.
totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Creative, your flavors are on point. I mean, yeah, you're just executed with such precision and perfection.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really actually think that like from each like year to year, once as I applied, it was like the first application I had submitted, my skill of baking was like I could follow a recipe and like maybe change the flavor profile. But like that's kind of it. The
Mhm.
second time I applied, I was like, okay, I can kind of take a recipe apart
Mhm.
and rebuild it, um, kind of make it my own. I'm starting to get a little bit more adventurous. And then the third time I applied, I was like, oh, I know the technical mechanics of a recipe. I
Yeah.
know that it's a ratio game. I know that if I do certain things, like I know the recipe is going to work. It's not like oh, I wonder what'll happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of more of a calculated attempt.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that was really cool to see my progress beforehand, and then on the show and afterwards, the learning was just like exponential. And
Yeah.
now it's like, sure, there are recipes, but I don't really want to make them.
Yeah, I get that for
Yeah.
sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, season 6 was a very adventurous season, I feel.
Yes.
Like we were seeing a lot more um, different kinds of spices and flavors and fruits that I had never heard of before. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my goodness, I am never going to get on this show because it's just like jumping, 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 with the techniques and with the flavors
Hmm.
and the
Mhm.
adventurous everything. So I was like, if it's just going to keep going this way, then I have no chance.
Yeah. And my Amazon bill was expensive that year.
Yeah.
I just want to put it out there, or wherever we were going, it was like, oh, I've got to go into this Asian supermarket because I'm looking for, whatever, right? It was like
Yeah.
a constant,
Mhm.
constant,
No, that was totally my favorite part of my season
Yeah.
was that I just got so much support to just lean in to the flavors that I wanted, like that were familiar to me
Yeah.
rather
Mhm.
than what I thought would be good on the show.
Hmm.
Like, for instance, my teapot chocolate dome.
Yeah.
I on the show it was like dark chocolate, star anise, Thai tea.
Yeah.
And in practice, it was strawberry chocolate, which like is good, but not super representative
Hmm.
of me and
Mhm.
like the flavor profiles that I wanted to highlight. So I think just that kind of just having the cast that we had
Hmm.
was the only reason that I felt comfortable doing that and felt like compelled to push myself further.
Yeah.
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 And you did use a lot of those wonderful Asian flavors, and I think really represented the uniqueness of your multicultural background as well on the show.
Mhm.
So was that something that you really wanted to put out there as well? Like you said, you practice with sort of regular stuff, and then you took it to that next level when you actually executed the bakes. Was that obviously something that you were mindful and purposely?
Yeah, I really wanted to tell a story with each of my bakes.
Hmm.
And maybe not like super consciously I was doing that, but it always kind of seemed like, oh, like I'd have an idea for a flavor and then it just kind of built on itself. And I was pulling like flavors that are familiar to me, and then bakes that are familiar to me, where like the flavors were like, oh, a lot of times I was drawing on Asian flavors
Mhm.
that I love, but the bakes I'm more familiar with from like my mom's side. So
Mhm.
like mashing like a chocolate chip cookie up with whatever, like I do a
Mhm.
Taiwanese black sugar chocolate chip cookie with black cardamom,
Yeah.
like something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the real
Sounds so good.
mishmash or the marriage of the classic and the uniqueness of like a surprise flavor.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and you have Indonesian heritage as well, is that correct?
Yeah, so my dad's dad was from Indonesia, which
Okay.
is why my last name's spelled so funky.
Okay, I like the way your last
Yeah.
name is spelled.
Mhm.
And I was really super grateful that you pronounced when you were talking about, choose shoe and in the last
Yeah.
episode. I was like, thank you for saying it so I know how to pronounce
Yeah.
your name.
And And seriously, that had to be by far the best name for a bake ever on any
Yeah,
baking show.
it was really good.
I think I
It was
was
awesome.
so just like delirious at that point. I was like, this is what it is.
It makes sense.
It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it really was.
Thank
And
you.
I have Dutch heritage, so for me seeing the
Mhm.
stroopwafels in your garden party bake, I was like, "Oh, yay!" And then I had to go and look and see if you had Dutch heritage as well. So that was kind of exciting for me.
Yes, yeah. The mom's side as well. So
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, stroop waffles are so good.
Oh,
they are
aren't they
so
though?
good.
Especially when
So
they're
good.
warm, right? Warm
And the
off the
all butter
off.
ones are,
Oh,
Hmm.
you can buy them made with margarine, but why?
why?
Why? Yeah.
And I don't know if you recall, but on like the British show when they made them and they were all super grainy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, I tried that recipe. They came out so grainy. I don't know
Huh.
what.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What was the
very
recipe?
disappointed. It was totally the recipe.
Yeah. So then did you revamp it and do it yourself? Like make your own
Y-
caramel
Yeah.
filling in?
Well, like I was like, a caramel is not that challenging. Like it should
No.
not be this gross and sandy.
Hmm.
But yeah, on the show it was I made my own ube jam that
Yes.
was then
Mm.
folded into a caramel with cheese. I don't know if they caught the cheese on the show,
I
but there
don't
was
remember
cheese in
I
hearing
there.
about
don't
the
remember.
cheese. No,
Hmm.
but I
What?
mean, it's
What?
so adventurous. And I feel like, oh my goodness, I just can never be that adventurous. But you're
I think it's
inspiring
like
me.
the tent. The tent really like forces it out of you.
That's interesting because I would almost think that it would make you feel like you want to play it safe a little bit and be like, okay, well, I know what I'm doing with this thing, so I'm going to make sure that I do it so that I can keep progressing in the tent. But
I think at the beginning it was like that. And
okay,
then it
Mm.
was kind of like, okay, I've gained a little bit of confidence. We can kind of push the boat out now.
so
Okay.
exciting.
So, because you kind of pre-plan a lot of your bakes before you get into the tent. So did you find yourself maybe switching flavors out, tweaking them the
Totally.
as the weeks went in?
Yeah. So I did a lot of pre-planning, like, and I kind of prepped for the show like it was an exam. Like I would do my bakes multiple times and um like a test. Like, okay, I do a practice bake untimed, and then I would do like a practice bake timed and see how that went. Um, and then I got to the tent and I was like, oh, this is not gonna work. This
Wow.
is not good enough. So it was like back to the drawing board, try it again. Um, yeah, what can I do better?
Wow, it's impressive. But I mean, you were also at the time a fourth year student, is that correct?
Yeah, going into my fourth year.
Going into your fourth year of doing finance,
Yeah,
is that
finance.
correct?
Hmm.
So, you have a lot to do when you're in going into your fourth year. So here you are studying and
Yeah.
also trying to get all of these bakes planned and practiced, which takes a lot of time. and then revamping your
Yeah.
recipes, etc., etc. How did you do it? I mean, no
Yeah.
wonder you were exhausted at the end of the whole time on the tent in the tent, but even before that, you must have like showed up exhausted and been like, "This is my station. I'm just gonna lie down here for a little while."
Yeah, well, I remember prepping for the baking show and that being all I wanted to do, but like having my commercial law final and being like, no, I really have to study for that and like being pulled, like, okay, you gotta like understand university is a priority. But at the same time, I had the luxury of having like a summer break
Mm.
and
Mhm.
not having to worry about leaving work, or like leaving kids,
Yep, true.
or a
Yeah.
partner. So I was, in that sense, my whole brain was just baking show.
Yeah.
Good. That is
Yeah.
a luxury for sure.
Hmm.
Channel all of the energy that you had, all the focus, right? Just directly into your bakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If I,
Cool. So, what did it feel like when you finally got into that tent after a few years of applying? First of all, take us through because we've just seen all of the intros for all of
yeah,
the season 8 bakers. And when you see that, does it kind of take you back to when you got that call and they said, Lauren, we want you to be on season 6 of the Great Canadian Baking Show. How did that
yeah.
feel?
Okay, those videos always make me so emotional because like it's just so much excitement and yeah, I it was the most exciting thing, really, to show up to what has been my favorite show forever, and like live it in real life. Um, when I got the call, this is really funny. When I got the call, I was like stoked. I was so excited. But at the same time, I had just gotten an internship um, for the summer, and I had signed my contract. I had said yes. And then I had to go back and be like, I'm so sorry. This is a really weird thing that's happened to me. Um, but is there any way like I can defer maybe my internship so I can go be on the Great Canadian Baking Show? And luckily they were like, what? You want to do what? But they were very understanding and they let me come back. So that was a little
That's
bit of
cool.
stress off of my shoulders. But yeah, it was like a so excited that I have this opportunity, but oh no, there's
Oh
Yes.
this other
no.
thing that I've committed to.
No
Yeah.
kidding. So
And as
they were
and
on the
as
need to know list.
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Definitely.
That
And
was like,
were they excited for you? Did they know about the show or did you have these people that went, "Huh? What?"
it was a little bit of a huh. But the woman who hired me, who's actually a really close friend of mine now, was like, yeah, I would feel terrible if I told this young woman no, she can't come do her internship because there's this other incredible opportunity. So I'm just very lucky that I got to work with such great people.
Yeah, the right people. And so
Yeah.
you
Hmm.
did then go and do that internship after the show?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I was
fantastic.
back in Toronto when the show was airing. So it would be like Chi, Christy, and I, and we'd like all rotate whose house we went to watch each episode.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. And then
That
I
must have
flew
been so
back
good.
home for the finale.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you could be with your family and your close friends and
Celebrate.
everything.
Hmm.
Yeah. Not your baking
Exactly.
family, but your blood family.
Yes. Well, John did come, so I had a bit of baking
Right.
family there as
Yes.
well.
Oh,
Good.
Hmm.
that's so good. He's lovely. It was funny because we live in the same town and we've
Oh,
chatted a
yes.
lot and always said, oh, we should take our dogs for a walk, blah, blah, blah. But we didn't meet until the open casting call for season 8 in Vancouver, which
Yeah.
was just
It's
ridiculous. But
always the way, isn't it?
yeah.
You like it has to take something extreme.
Yeah. He's like, this is weird. Why are we meeting here? So And we still haven't taken our dogs for a walk, but we'll work on that.
Yeah, yeah.
One day soon. One day
Yes.
soon. So
So speaking of stopping this young woman from doing this incredible opportunity, you were the youngest baker in your season by like
Mhm.
9 years. And
Yep.
so, how was that for you? Did that feel intimidating, or was it like instantly, these people are my family, and you have all these the same thing in common, and it was easy to relate to each other, so it didn't seem to matter.
At the beginning, it was a lot of imposter syndrome. It was like, I don't think I deserve to be here. Like, everyone seems so qualified and has so much experience. Um, but then I realized, no, these are just the most amazing people, who are so supportive. Like, it's a competition, but I'm in the most supportive group I could ever be in.
Yeah.
And two, like, Christy had kind of been baking for, I think, less time than I
Wow.
had. Um, and yeah, so craziness.
Hmm.
And or like other people, it was like a pandemic hobby for them as well. So I'm like,
mhm.
okay, well, we're kind of like on the same page there. And then everyone just like chats about baking, and it's just kind of like, at the end of it, we've all learned so much and we've gone through the same experience. So it's like we come out the other side being like, we've gone through this collective thing. We're kind of tied together
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
we hear
bet.
that, yeah, and we hear that so much, both about the imposter syndrome from everybody that makes it onto the baking show.
Yeah.
Everybody I think
Mhm.
feels that imposter syndrome, or oh my goodness, I can't possibly be, I can't do this,
Yeah.
So we've heard that, but we've also heard about all of the support
Mhm.
and people who are just wanting everybody to succeed. And you do become that really tight-knit family because, like you said, you're all in this together, and you go through this thing, and at the end you come out a whole lot stronger than when you first came in, with all of the experience and all the support and all the learning, that you've picked up along the way. So it's really a wonderful, it's such a wonderful experience overall, and to come out a winner of season 6
Yeah, that
is
must be
super,
nice.
super exciting too.
Yeah. Still so crazy. Like, it sunk in, but I think about it and I still am like, that is so cool that happened.
Yeah. But
Totally.
it was
Yeah.
very well deserved and well earned. Like that was a lot of
Yeah.
work and you made it look easy, which is insane. Like
Yeah, I don't
you
think I
work.
have that kind of endurance anymore. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. You're talking about making 800 pieces of moon
Yeah.
cakes
That's
on a
true, I
regular
guess.
basis. I think you probably could.
Oh, yeah, I do, I guess, maybe enjoy the challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can imagine that for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we need to also again do our shout out to the casting department
Yes.
because just every single season has been crafted in a way that makes so much sense for that season's story, you know?
Yeah.
And all the bakers that were in the tent with you for season 6, it was such a perfect blend for that season, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hard to
Yeah.
Yeah.
imagine any of them being in another season with any other group of bakers, you know?
No, it just like wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Feels weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
Casting department knocks it out of the
Yeah.
park once again.
Yeah, they are
Every
definitely
year.
good at what they do. And I think it transcends beyond just the season that you're in as well. Connections that you make,
Hmm.
you gain a whole other family. And now it seems like it's not even within the Canadian borders. It's like connections with people who've been on the Australian series or Bake Off, the original British Bake Off,
Hmm.
or, the US now. So it's really cool to see the collaboration, and those relationships with these bakers from around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much fun to see just how everyone's experience was and their what they've done post show. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, just very cool that globally we have kind of this connecting thread, which you don't get very often.
No, it's very true. Do you get together with other bakers that are in your area? Because there's a lot around the Toronto
Hmm.
area. And from
Yeah.
other seasons or
From other seasons, sometimes like we will see each other, like if someone does a pop-up, then it's like pretty easy to spot someone that's nearby. If someone's visiting in town, we'll like get together. But then just from like my season, I will see like she and Christy very pretty frequently. And I just was in Ottawa earlier in the summer visiting Rosemary.
Nice.
I will be in Montreal at some point. I had to cancel my trip that I had planned, but
Oh,
I will be in Montreal at some point to see Lydiane soon. I saw Nigel earlier in the summer. So it's like
Nice.
we all just keep in contact.
that's so
And
good.
it's just like as soon as we get together, it's like we never were apart.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
bet it feels that way. Well, when you come out to see John, just let me know that you're here and we'll walk
Yeah,
the dogs.
for
Finally.
sure. I would love that.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
if you're visiting your folks as well, if they're still in Tsawwassen,
Mhm.
yeah,
then yeah, I'm not that far away. I'm
she's
just in
in
White
White
Rock.
Rock.
Yes.
Oh
So
my goodness.
that'll be
So
cool.
yeah, I really have moved out of the good range
Yeah,
here.
that's very true. But we're used to dealing with people who are in your time zone. So we've been having a lot of interviews with people over there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
year we're going to be we've got even further because our very good friend Christine, who is in New Brunswick, the very first New Brunswick baker on
Very
the Great Canadian
exciting.
Baking Show,
Mhm.
we're gonna have to figure out how to reach even further east to do interviews with her.
Absolutely.
Yes, a little bit more math involved.
Yes, and
Well,
I don't love
although,
math.
yeah, although she is a huge night owl,
This is true.
so we
Oh,
should be okay. She goes to bed later than we do.
Sometimes.
that's that is a great system.
So,
Yeah, I unfortunately, yeah, my time schedule is usually very, very poor for planning calls with my family. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm going to bed. Sorry.
So you're probably getting ready to wrap up your day soon because it's a little bit
Soon.
later there.
It is a little bit later, and I get up around 4:35
Ooh,
for
okay.
work. So
oh, wow. Yeah. So
Um,
tell us about, so that's a great
yeah.
segue. Like, so what are you
mhm.
doing now? So are you in the world of finance?
I am in the world of finance. I
Wow.
work in bond issuance. So yes, very different than baking. Um, but I like it. I think that both require a bit of an analytical brain and
Hmm.
some kind of number crunching, but I appreciate the fact that I got to do kind of both. And they're
Mhm.
so also at the same time so separate
Hmm.
that I feel like I kind of have two lives and I can really just shut off from one to the other.
Your right brain, left
Yeah.
brain thing, just kind of
Yeah,
shuffle.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
great. It's all about
That's,
balance.
it is. Yes.
yeah, very
Hmm.
cool.
Well, I think maybe it's time for us to play a little game
Oh,
of
Yep.
fun.
this or that.
Okay.
Very easy for you because all you have to do is answer honestly. Although we do usually ask you to expand a little bit on things, but
Yeah.
we
And
will
there's
start off.
zero judgment,
That's what she says.
judgment free zone.
Yeah, okay.
We shall see. She usually doesn't judge our guests.
No, just you.
Yeah. But that's okay. Because we're like,
All
she's my sister from another mister,
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much, pretty
Yeah.
much. So, all right.
Right.
So the first one we have for you is tea or coffee?
Oh, at this point in my life, coffee. Yes.
Well, you're
You're
waking
getting
up
up
at
at
4:30.
4:30.
Yes,
Yeah, those early
exactly.
morning. Yeah.
Thinking about that because I know you have at least in some point in your life collected teapots.
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
Are you continuing with
Um,
your teapot collection?
Yes, I've got one right here. It's missing the bottom
Oh,
part, but
Oh, that
very
sounds
cute
so
cinema
cute.
roll. It's got like a teacup that kind of sits at the
fits
bottom.
in. Yeah.
My mom is just like counting down the days till she can send me the rest of my collection here. I think we've decided that my apartment is a little bit too small for all of them right
Mm.
now, but when I move eventually, those will be coming.
How many do you
So, yeah,
have? What? I
Mm,
love this.
over
approximately.
over 40, under 50.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not
Okay.
too bad.
Yeah,
That's not
no,
too
but
bad.
Yeah,
that's hard to ship that many
Yeah.
because you don't
hard to
want them
ship.
breaking.
Yeah, they're pretty clunky.
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah. And
any
you,
that's it's are they just like funky teapots or all kinds? Do you have Delft blue in there?
Um, I go for funky ones,
Mhm.
like a toonie at the thrift store type of teapot.
Okay.
So, like one of my favorites is this like really plump cat in like a suit and a monocle and a top hat.
oh, that's
And I've
awesome.
got one that's like a salmon tackle like box for fishing. Yeah, there are so many.
So
Oh,
really
And
that's
yeah,
eclectic.
eclectic. Yeah.
really eclectic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
did
great.
So
though get
novelty
from
teapots.
exactly, that's the right word. But from the show, one of the editors came up to me and said, "Oh, I saw your like teapot chocolate dome. I
Mhm.
have this antique silver teapot that was given to me by like a relative at my wedding. Would you like it?"
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my
Oh,
gosh, I'd be
sweet.
honored to have this. And it's gorgeous. It's got like feet on the bottom, so like it's
Yes.
propped up and it's beautiful and it houses now all of my little mementos from the show.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
how
lovely.
sweet.
What a
Yeah.
perfect canister container, perfect container for
Yeah,
your show mementos. I
exactly.
love
Yeah,
it.
so my
Oh,
kazoo's in there. I'm not sure if you know about those.
tell all our audience.
So Rosemary tra apparently, she's like, I travel with kazoos, so I've brought you all kazoos. And they very quickly, we would always have them in our aprons. They would always be on hand for when we needed just a little bit of a pick me up. Um,
And you guys
yeah.
actually, they did film that. Now that you're saying that, I
hmm
hmm
remember you
hmm
actually did like a little like kazoo musical thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so every break, I'm sure the people who are listening to our mics hated us. Because yeah, there are a few things more annoying than a bunch of people kazooing straight into a microphone.
Directly into a
But
mic. Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
great way to diffuse a stressful situation, right?
So
Like
good.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think just perfect for that, if things are getting a little bit hot, and I'm not just talking about weather,
hmm
because that was a challenge, I'm sure, for you guys too.
Yeah.
Oh,
But just to have that like little moment of frivolity and joy
bonding.
and yeah, I mean that's so cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Rosemary is very good at knowing how to bring people out of whatever headspace they're in and kind of resetting, so
Exactly. She would always be, we'd be stressing in the baker's like cottage. Oh, what's the technical? And she's like, it's just cake. It's gonna be fine. Like, I guess you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. At
Yeah,
the end of the
it's
day, yeah, you're just baking and it's supposed to be fun and you're
It's supposed
supposed
to
to
be
have a
fun.
good time. And yeah, yeah,
what an experience to be there in the tent
totally.
together with a bunch of other people who love it as much as you do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Truly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finding that joy.
Very
Okay,
cool.
well, that was
Yeah.
only the first question, and this was that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
No,
This is
don't be
perfect.
sorry. We
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
love it. Okay, Tsawwassen or Toronto?
Oh no.
Will your parents be listening?
Yes, and I don't think it comes as a big surprise that I say Toronto. Like Tsawwassen is a tiny town,
Mhm.
um, and I love it very much. It's very beautiful, and my family is there. But there's always something going on in Toronto,
Yes.
and I just spend my days walking around the city, and I never seem to get bored of it.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah,
That makes so
very
much sense.
totally.
I
Yeah,
think you, I
Totally.
mean, you love each city for different reasons, but I think you're
for
in the right
sure.
place for you right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
awesome. And yeah,
We
and
say awesome
especially
a
in
lot.
we do. But also with in your career in finance, you're in the absolute best place to be in
Yes.
terms of career development and moving forward with that. So
And
good.
in the best place to be if you're going to do a holiday special for
Oh,
the
Mm.
particular baking show. Just saying, that would be cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't chosen for the last Champion of Champions round, but there's always next time.
Yep, might as well.
However many years to
yeah,
collect
Yeah.
enough bakers
absolutely.
again.
Yeah. Well, it
Okay.
is season 8, so I think got
That's
another
true.
few.
Well,
Yeah.
when we
Yep.
have talked to other winners of other seasons,
Mhm.
Christina always likes to ask. Go ahead, Christina,
No,
ask
go
your
ahead. You
question.
can ask. You can ask this time.
So after season 10, when they have had 10 winners, if they came back and had a season of all winners, like a full-on championship season, would you do it?
I I don't I don't know. I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like I would say yes, but my baking style I feel is very, very different
Yeah.
than most of the other bakers in that like if you take Andre, for example, so precise,
Mm-hmm.
so meticulous. And I don't have the energy for that.
But you have to do you your way.
Yeah.
Yes. So my baking is very much like, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Okay, so what if it was just
Well,
a one weekend thing?
yeah.
A one weekend thing, easy. I feel like a whole season's worth of like trying to like mentally prep myself to be like, okay, these people they mean business
Mm-hmm.
would be a different story.
Hmm.
But also they're bakers, so it couldn't be that bad.
No, I think it would be amazing.
I think it
Yeah.
would be amazing. But I can understand the whole Andre thing because
Intimidated by Andre's precision.
Yeah.
that's crazy. And yeah, he's just next level
No,
amazing.
no.
I can't wait to talk to him and hear what he says about everybody who,
Right?
because
Yeah.
everyone's fawning over him all the time. And, he'd just be like, no, no, you
No,
know.
right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So modest.
So
Very.
true.
Yes.
So, all right. I think we know the answer to this question, but you never know. Late
Mhm.
nights or early mornings?
Early mornings, yes. I would say that sometimes it's not by choice, but I find it so nice to like just be able to wake up early and kind of get your day
Mm-hmm.
started.
Mhm.
And also, I don't know, I really always like go to bed looking forward to breakfast. I'm like,
Oh,
ooh, I
That's
is
get
that
to
your
sweet.
make
favorite
myself.
meal?
I think so. Like I'm always thinking about like breakfast for dinner. Like,
Yeah.
can I
Oh,
do that again?
I love breakfast for dinner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
but
good.
are
It
you
is,
talking?
yes,
Am I
pancakes,
talking about
waffles.
many times a week? Yeah.
Well,
You're like, why
again,
not?
no judgment, Lauren,
No.
at all.
I mean, I have that like when I make chia pudding for breakfast and that you make it the
Mhm.
night before and then that it's going to be ready for you in the morning. I get really
Yeah.
excited about that, but I get excited about bacon and eggs and she gets excited about a bowl of cereal.
Lucky Charms specifically.
Oh,
It's
very
my
good
guilty
choice.
pleasure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
those marshmallows. They're so
Ah,
bad, but
right.
they're so good.
They're
So good.
magically delicious.
So good. They
Yeah.
are magically delicious.
And
But
this episode sponsored by Lucky Charms.
right? But I
I
totally
wish.
hear you about breakfast for dinner. It is
Mhm.
absolutely by far one of my favorite things to do too.
Hmm.
No, it's like I'm tired. I don't want to think. Just like what's a go-to?
Hmm.
Eggs.
Mhm.
I went through a huge egg phase this winter. Just FYI, I don't know.
Very comforting.
Eggs are
Yeah.
fabulous for you too. They're
They're
like
very
a
good.
superfood, really. All that protein and
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
very good
cannot
for
go
you.
wrong.
Nope.
So
Yeah.
what do you have for breakfast usually? Like what's your go-to breakfast or
Right now, I will have kind of the same breakfast every single day for a good chunk of time and then I'll switch it up. But right now, I have like banana on toast
Mhm.
and yogurt
Hmm,
Flavored
very
and a
good.
yogurt or
he- um sometimes I'll put some like maple in it. But usually it's just like plain Greek yogurt or like I I was gifted a bottle of pumpkin spice. That's been going in the yogurt recently.
that is so
Um,
appropriate.
yes. And then like a full French press of coffee.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's so
It's
luxurious.
fourth
I
or
don't know. I feel like French press coffee, like it just, I don't, there's something really high end feeling about it. You're like, look at me with my French press.
bougie.
Beautiful. I don't know. I
Yeah.
like to make things an occasion. So it makes it feel like more like an occasion if you're having French press coffee. And do you put anything in your coffee?
Just a bit of like almond milk,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
that's it. Chug it down. Get it
love
in.
it. Actually, we didn't.
Wake up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't get into that too much either, but you're both dairy free and gluten free, right?
Yes.
So how was that in the tent? Was everything that you created gluten free and dairy free, or you just were not able to taste anything, or
No, I didn't really taste anything. Um, I didn't think it was going to be such a big deal because I kind of like I taught myself how to bake without having to taste anything. So I was used to that.
Mhm.
What I was not used to was going into the hotel and not having my family around to taste things.
Mm,
Right.
mhm.
So for like a couple of days, I was just kind of like accumulating stuff and being like, oh, I don't really know if this is good. And then I kind of brought it up, and the other bakers were like, "Oh yeah, we'll taste. Like we'll give you feedback, no problem." So that was amazing. And I would have really struggled if not for their feedback.
Yeah.
And then yeah, in the tent, I just yeah didn't taste anything I made.
Well, it seems
That
to
would
have
be
worked out
so
well.
hard.
Yeah, that would be
That would
hard.
be so hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I have to just like I guess trust that people aren't just saying, "Oh yeah, it's good. You're fine."
Yeah, you
Yeah.
need that honest feedback.
obviously they
100%.
did give you that honest feedback. So
Yes.
because it seemed to work out just fine for you, Lauren. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
gluten-free
So
stuff for your pop-ups?
for my pop-ups, yes, I've started to do a bit more because people always ask. And
Hmm.
if I'm going to be honest, there's not a wide variety of gluten-free baking here in Toronto,
Mm, that
which is
surprises me.
surprising. It is.
Hmm.
I found that there's a lot of vegan baking,
Hmm.
um,
Which is
but
not
not,
gluten-free.
yeah, not gluten-free.
Hmm.
Despite what people will say to me. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so I've tried to make more of an effort to include more gluten-free bakes.
That's great. I think it's very important. Like, and because you remember
Hmm.
eating sand. So,
Yes,
and if it's
yes.
not done right, you can still find a lot of gluten-free stuff that's just dry and crumbly and
Hmm.
Dry and crumbly, and the flour tastes bad, and
hmm.
yeah, big yuck everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I
Lots of
hear
big yuck.
you.
But although it is so much better now than it was back when you first went gluten free in 2014, you were
Mhm.
saying. So
Hmm.
it's come a
So
long,
much
long way.
better.
Yep.
Yes. Thank
Yep.
goodness.
But still has a long way to come
It
to
does.
go. Yeah.
Okay. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Wow. Okay. And that's a hard thing to make gluten-free also.
It is, yes. Every I it's not a cop out because it's still baking and it's still very good. But I will do my favorite dessert is pumpkin pie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll do a pumpkin pie with a ginger cookie
Mm.
like base, like a
Nice.
graham cracker crust type
So
of
nice.
thing,
Yeah.
but gluten-free cookies
Yes.
because that's just like it's so much easier than trying to fuss around with a pie crust.
That you
And
can't roll out. I found
yeah,
one. I found one. I was very excited.
yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay, well, I might steal that recipe from
Yes.
you.
It's sorghum and maybe
Millet?
arrowroot. Maybe,
Oh,
yeah,
and
sorghum and millet.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, it worked out
Yeah.
really well when I tried it. I liked it.
Although the ginger cookie
That would taste
crust would
really
be
good.
amazing. Yeah, I
It's
think.
very good because it adds more
Yeah.
flavor to it as
Mhm.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
And
pumpkin
texture.
pie.
Yes,
Yeah. I
exactly.
think that would be really yummy.
Yeah, it's probably a better idea than getting a pie crust anyway.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes not worth the hassle, especially if like you're focused on other like Thanksgiving or Christmas things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Baking or finance?
Ooh, in what context as a career? Finance. Um, for fun, baking.
Okay, that's a
Okay,
perfect answer.
that is a totally fair answer.
Yeah.
I was thinking if you could only do one of those things
Ever?
for the rest of your life.
Oh, well, probably baking because I can see I don't think I'd enjoy spending my like retirement years just perusing financial news for the
Although
rest of
it's
time.
fascinating.
It is. I think I would want a break at that point.
That's totally fair.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear you say that, but I'm also really happy that you get to have the balance of it.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
left
I
brain,
need
right
it.
brain. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
best of both worlds right now, for sure.
exactly.
Okay, sourdough or yeasted bread?
Yeasted bread.
Mhm.
Sourdough is not my friend.
Hmm.
I kill sourdough like no one's business. And my favorite type of bread to make is like a milk bread or any type of sweet roll. And I've I've done enriched sourdoughs, and I'm like, I don't have like 8,000 hours to wait for
Mhm.
you to rise.
Yeah, fair enough. It
Yeah.
is a labor of love making sourdough and
Mhm.
especially enriched sourdough. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah, I think I'm too impatient for that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a 3-hour bread.
please.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
thanks.
The
Yeah.
shokopan that we made with Larry was really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Yeah.
So good.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tasty.
We're on your side.
Yes. Knitting or crocheting?
Mm, crochet. I've really been into Tunisian crochet, which looks like you've knit something, but it's
Oh.
actually crochet.
Whoa, I'm writing
Um,
that down.
yes, it's a lot of fun because I struggle with tension when I knit. So all of my rows look kind of wonky. And with this, you don't get wonky rows.
Oh,
Oh, that's
well, there you
cool.
go. And would you use like yarn then when you're
Yeah,
crocheting, or is it a
yeah.
specific? Okay.
It's just whatever yarn you want, but it is more of a specific hook.
Mhm.
So it's a crochet hook with like an extra tail. Because you're working back and forth, you need that extra length to like kind of make sure that everything stays together.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's
Yeah, I'm gonna
interesting.
look into that. My
Mhm.
mom
So much
crochets a
fun.
lot. She taught me when I was a kid, but I forgot. But she loves it.
Easy to pick up.
I don't
Yeah.
do either of those. My
Lauren,
grandmother tried to teach me how to actually, I had one grandma who crocheted and another grandmother who knitted, and both of them tried to teach me their respective crafts. I was totally pathetic at it. I prefer to bake with them. Both of them
Yes.
were great
Yeah.
bakers. So
maybe we should have said needlework or baking instead of finance.
Maybe. Still would be baking. Yeah.
All right, my question for you is Dutch poffertjes or Chinese coconut bun? If you
Chinese coconut
if you've had
bun.
poffiches.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes. Nothing quite gets me like the smell of a Chinese bakery.
Mm,
Yeah, I walk past
So
and
good.
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
wish.
coconut buns are
Yeah.
so delicious, especially when they're nice and
So, so
fresh. They're
good.
still warm.
Oh,
Hmm.
can
And
you
Hmm.
just like,
find that?
I have not found any gluten-free pre-made. Like,
Oh,
I could
Mhm.
do it,
Yeah.
but do I want to do it? Uh, Not
Only when you're
really.
desperate. Yeah.
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 fair, fair.
Oh, that must be torture, Lauren. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like in a
That's
good way,
okay.
sort of. Like you still enjoy the smell of it, but
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like the best candle ever.
Hmm.
I just think of it
Yeah,
that way. You can't eat a candle.
Yeah.
that's
That's a
true.
very good way
Yeah.
of you know, working through those feelings that you would
Hmm.
have, right? And yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
not
it
Hmm.
be
still lights up those things in our brain,
Mhm.
the pleasure
Exactly.
centers and everything, not, just a different way from tasting something. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a good way of looking at it.
yeah, for sure. Dressing up for a night out or dressing down for a night in?
I'm going to say dressing up for a night out because they're far more infrequent than my dressing down for a night in. Usually it's like I get home, I'm like straight into pajamas and I'm like, that's it. You're not seeing me ever again. Um,
Except on our podcast.
yes, exactly. Which am I wearing pajamas? Who's to
Who
say?
knows?
No judgment zone, no judgment.
No judgment.
Um, but yeah, I think getting dressed up is a lot of fun.
Hmm. Do you like
Mhm.
doing makeup?
Mm,
Because you don't look like you
I
wear like
no,
you're
I don't
beautiful,
wear
naturally beautiful.
makeup.
Hmm.
Thank you. I'm very bad at it. It just like I put it on and then or I put like eyeshadow on and then it's all just like under my eyes immediately. I'm like, how did makeup on set like keep me from not looking like a raccoon? I don't understand.
Did
You
you
just
have help
need,
on set? Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, so at first they said, okay, so come with like the makeup that you want on camera, like come ready. So I did, and then pretty quickly realized, oh, they're just redoing it all. So I just stopped. I was like, I'm not helping you. I'm just making it more difficult.
You just
There you
came in
go.
with a fresh face for them to start
Yeah,
with. Yeah.
Well, you had,
exactly.
yeah, and you had such a great canvas to work with
Hmm.
anyway. So you're so cute.
Thank you.
You still are.
That's awesome. So when you dress up, then do you try to do makeup or do you just like
I'll try a little bit, but it's more like I put a bunch of chunky things in my ears and like put on something fun and colorful that usually matches my hair.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's like a purpley color.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's purple
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
really
It's
cute.
pretty faded. I've gotta do some touch-ups, but I felt like it was time to go back to purple. I was green for a bit there.
I like the purple
Very
on
cool.
you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks really good. I think on the show, I think, did you not have like some blue that was going
It
through
was
and
like
like a
pink and purple, and then I went afterwards to, I think maybe you saw me like Christmas episode. I probably had the green at that point, like teal
yeah,
and green. Yeah.
yeah, cool. Well, you pull off whatever color you decide to go on. It's a lot of fun and
It is fun.
it is. It's so much fun. So it's
Yeah.
cool.
The finale
Thank you.
episode was very colorful between you and
Yes.
Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I was like, Zoya,
that
get
was
with the
like
program. Come on.
such a great. No, Zoya was in Rainbow Stripes.
Oh, but I mean her hair.
Oh,
She
her
didn't have
hair.
the she
Yeah.
didn't have the
Yeah,
color in her
yeah.
hair. But yes, it was
Peer
very
pressure.
colorful
Yeah.
everywhere.
No, I loved all of our outfits together. I was like, never has
Yeah.
a finale been so coordinated.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
Your outfits were on point the whole
Every time.
season,
My
actually.
goodness,
So
that little like beret thing. I just really love that. That was so cute on you. And I was like, she could pull off anything and just look amazing.
Thank you. Well, I was like really trying my darndest to like match everything to my bakes.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Thank
to
you.
have carry the themes all the way through everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a lot of planning. You must have done like an Andre thing there.
Yeah, I was a little bit of I'm a bit of a crazy planner. Like I love planning things. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So did you have all of those outfits beforehand, or did you actually have to shop for
outfits?
all of those?
I only bought a few things. Most of it was already in my closet. Yeah.
Fun.
Cool. Or did you plan your bakes around your outfits?
Hey, who's to know? Who's to say?
It didn't matter because it worked either way.
Totally.
The road to get there is not as important as the outcome because her bakes looked fantastic every time.
So cool.
Yes, a little bit jealous of all the beautiful baking that you did.
Me too.
All right, the last question is the most important question, and you have likely been asked this question before. Butter tarts, raisins, or no raisins?
I love a raisin. I don't think it's a butter tart without raisins.
See that face right there? See, you know how she said no judgment? So I discovered that I like raisins in butter tarts. I realized it. And she was openly shocked. And look at the face. She's just like, no.
Without it,
it's a butter tart.
I don't think so.
With raisins, it's a raisin tart.
Why don't they just try to change your mind, Lauren?
Raisin tarts. If they're
because there's not enough raisin in it. Like I would understand if you had the amount of raisin, like if you have the same raisin to filling ratio as like a pecan pie, like that, because the binder is basically the same thing. I would see that as a raisin pie. But I think the raisins give just enough textural contrast for it to be still butter tart.
I agree with you. And I really enjoy raisins in my butter tarts. And I enjoy seeing Christina's face when someone else says that they like raisins.
That's okay, Lauren. That's okay. Like I said, it's a judgment-free zone where you're concerned. Now you, Missy.
Cristina, you have an RJF, resting judgment face. She sits there like,
guilty as charged. I am not sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
That's okay.
About that.
You know, you can like your butter tarts the way that you like them, and I will.
Totally.
And we are going to try each other's, and she will eat the raisins to see if she likes it, and she would, she would admit it if she likes the way it tastes. So
I'll eat them. If somebody's baking me a raisin tart, butter tart, butter/raisin tart, I will happily eat it. It's just not my favorite way of consuming a butter tart.
She likes them with currants.
I do like them with currants.
Okay, so that's weird. That's like the same thing, just on a smaller scale.
Totally different texture. Because currants are like more like seedy almost. Like they've got like a little crunch. They have a little bit more texture to them, where raisins are like just soft. You just like but
we knew exactly what you meant by that.
Right? No, exactly.
Whereas the currant has like a little bit more texture to it. And I think that's what I appreciate in a butter tart. If you're gonna have something in there, currants would be my preference. That's all.
Understood.
All right.
It's all good. Again, no right or wrong reason or
raisin?
Wrong answer. No raisin.
No right or wrong raisin.
No raisin is a bad raisin. Well, sometimes. But But yeah, and I think that's the great thing about baking in general and all the different flavor combos, right? There's something for
Yeah.
everybody in there, and not everything's going to appeal to everybody all the time. And it's really knowing who your audience is, like you said,
Yes.
right? Who your customers are, who your audience is, who you're baking
Yeah.
it for, and making sure that you can, you know, create something that they will enjoy based on their personal preferences.
Yep.
That's all.
Yes.
That's great. And
For
all the
sure.
combination, they're endless.
They are.
Hmm.
They are.
So.
Lauren, do you have a baking scrap for our audience? So, some kind of tip or trick that you can pass on with your wealth of knowledge?
Sure. So I was thinking about this, and something that's kind of become second nature. If ever I'm putting like a tea into something, um, I will oftentimes brown my butter and then like you would bl bloom spices in a hot oil if you were to make like a curry or something. I will bloom the tea leaves in the
Mm.
hot brown butter to really extract that and then let that cool down and then use that in my bake.
Oh, I love
Oh,
that. That,
I've got to try that.
yes. So,
Mhm.
Christina really likes to put
Mhm.
different teas in her bakes. And
Mhm.
we both love brown butter.
Oh,
Oh, it's
So
just the best.
it really is. So
Yeah.
can we have a
that's a great
moment
tip. Yeah.
for brown butter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It is so good.
It is.
So good.
That
And
is a
especially
fabulous tip.
it is absolutely brilliant. So the best of both, actually, the brown butter with blooming your teas in there. That would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Mhm.
And then just drain them, or I guess sieve them when you're
Sieve
putting it
them.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're using like a really fine tea, I will just leave it in.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting some Thai tea shipped to me because we couldn't find any anywhere. And
Oh,
my
yeah.
friend in Philadelphia was like, you have to make these muffins that had Thai tea in them. And
Mm.
so we went to our Chinatown here in Victoria, which it had like a Thai tea mix that had a lot of extra sugar
Mm,
in it.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So she's shipping it to me so I can try.
Oh, nice.
Very
I'm
nice.
excited. I might
Yeah.
pick your brain, Lauren, for some other stuff I can do with Thai tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's so good.
Oh,
And
I'm excited.
Lisa, if you're ever down in Seattle, they have a fabulous little tea shop there
Okay.
as well. I'm sure they probably have a Thai tea there. So I know you
Okay.
can hop a ferry and head over there.
Yeah.
But
Another thing to
yeah,
keep in mind. I haven't
yeah, it's
done
not
that
that
yet.
far off the waterfront where the ferry would come in, actually. So definitely
Perfect.
walkable. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you.
no problem.
Well, this has
So
been really lovely. I'm sorry we're keeping you so late.
That's okay. Very happy to talk all things baking.
Fabulous. We'll be
uh,
very happy to have you on another time, I hope. We are going to be doing some recaps of the Great Canadian Baking Show Season 8 as it airs. And we'd love to
Fun.
have you on as a guest, perhaps for one of those episodes, to just kind of shed your or give us your opinions and ideas and thoughts on how things
an
are going with
expert,
it. Yeah,
expert
Yeah,
opinion.
anytime.
That would
wonderful.
be
Anytime.
fantastic.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so much
much.
for having me.
Well,
Oh,
thanks. Thanks
of
for chatting with us. We really do appreciate your time and your energy, and it's been so lovely to connect with you. And looking forward to chatting with you again one day soon, Lauren.
Yes, chat with you soon.
Thanks
Sounds
so
good.
much, Lauren. Have
Great.
a great night.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. See you
Bye.
later.
Bye. Thank
Bye. And good
Bye.
you.
luck with your pop-up.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so
Looking forward to
much.
seeing
Yep.
how it looks.
Thanks. Okay.
Bye.
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 Oh, another sweet guest.
Lovely. I
Oh,
know.
we're
She
so
was so
lucky.
great. I
I tell
know.
you.
I mean, we could talk for so long. We could just keep going. And then I'm like, she's 3 hours ahead of us, and she's probably
Exhausted.
looking forward to her breakfast tomorrow morning and
Yes,
thinking,
and her coffee.
oh no,
Definitely
yeah,
will be appreciating her coffee tomorrow morning.
yeah, at
So, yeah.
4:30. I get up at 5, but
Yeah.
I have been hitting the alarm or hitting snooze a lot more lately.
Mm.
4:30 would come way too early for me.
It totally would. And
Mhm.
especially now it's so dark at even 6 o'clock in the morning. It's so dark
You can see the
where,
light is coming here, and my bright white face changed color. Now it's starting, the sun is going down.
yeah.
it's kind of interesting how these episodes always somehow hit these right notes. Like we talk about things in the intro that then come up during the podcast, right? Like you were
Mhm.
talking about baking with tea, and we
Yep.
were talking about pumpkin spice and
Lattes.
you know,
Yep.
and then all that came up when we were talking with Lauren
Yeah. And sometimes,
organically.
yeah, and I think that's a cool thing about our conversations is they are really like we really, you know,
Bounce.
let conversations kind of flow and
Yes.
ebb and flow, and we go on some tangents, and then we kind of try to come
Mhm.
back, and then we go back out. And I
Try.
think I we try exactly. But it's really lovely to have those conversations like you would if you were just meeting a friend for
For
coffee.
coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like that. Maybe we
I
should
love it
rebrand
too. Yeah.
coffee and
Coffee,
tea,
coffee
coffee or
talk.
tea, coffee talk. I like the sweet talk though.
I like sweet talk too.
Yeah,
That's really
sweet talk,
good.
sweet.
I find that because in the beginning, when we were first starting to do this podcast, we had a specific list of questions for our
Mhm.
guests, and as we have sort of gotten used to the format and working with the tech, etc., we veered away from having questions, and we just kind of have a kind of not even an outline but just a
No.
few things jotted down that we could touch on. And I love the way that that works for the organicness of the conversation. And I found that when we had the questions, even the this or that question, I just find it like we have so much left to
Yep.
do. We gotta hurry up and
I
stay on
know.
track, because
Yeah.
then when the tangents come, you don't enjoy them as much when you're thinking, but we still have six more questions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But I
so
love
I'm
the
happy with how we've done this.
Yeah, and I really love how this or that really does unfold though, because
Mhm.
it's not just about getting those initial
Mm-mm.
questions and answers from everybody, but
Yeah.
it's more sort of the discussion that comes after the fact,
Yeah.
and really learning a little bit more about each of our guests.
Mhm.
Both about baking, but then also about personally
Life. Yeah.
and life. And yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's just really cool.
It really is. It's lovely to talk to you as always.
Lovely speaking with you as well, and great connecting with everybody out there too.
And it was really lovely talking with Lauren. I'm so glad we had that opportunity. We have one more winner to talk to on our schedule, and then
And
one
then we
more
have
to
to
track
find to
down.
track down. So again,
Yes.
if anybody knows, we're trying to track down Sabrina from season 1. If anybody knows how to get a hold of her, we would love nothing more than to have her in on our podcast.
Mhm.
And because we think it would be a lot of fun to get her
Yeah.
perspective as being the first
Mhm. The
Great
inaugural.
Canadian, yeah, being the first, the original Great Canadian Baking Show winner,
Yes.
and how season 1 would be so different, and really to get that knowledge from her, or that learning from her,
Mhm.
to find out how different it is when she
Yes.
was on versus where
Now.
it is now. Because of
Yes.
course, with everything in life, I think you live and learn, and you make it bigger and better
Mhm.
every time out. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It has been an evolution, but it still has that same feeling of home. And
absolutely.
I love it. I love
I
it.
don't
I'm
think
so
that
excited for season 8 to start. Can't
so
wait to
excited for
watch.
season 8. And of course, our good buddy Christine is going to be on the season, which I am so freaking proud of her and happy that she finally made it into the tent as well. And we know a couple of other bakers as
Yes.
well. Jen, who's, tried out what, 8 times,
Eight
and
times. Yep.
8 times
Since
lucky.
season one, she
Eight.
was, who was it with? She was with Jude and John Fowler, I think. Oh no, it was James. She was with
Oh,
James.
James.
Yes, and so they called themselves the Three J's, is my understanding. But that's her story to tell. She could tell that when
Yes.
we
Well,
have her as a guest eventually on
that would
the
be awesome.
podcast. But yes, we're very excited about everyone who's in season 8 now. I don't know when this episode is going to air, but
Probably a few weeks before the show actually starts.
okay,
The
good,
season actually
good,
starts, I think, right?
good.
So, because yeah, I think probably just
We'll
before.
look at our calendar
Yeah,
later.
we'll
Yeah,
look at a calendars, but
got
I
it.
think this one will launch before the end of September.
Okay, fantastic.
Cool.
I think you're right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go and eat some dinner.
Sounds good.
And
I hope you have a great evening, and we will talk again soon.
thanks so
So
much.
yeah. Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Happy
Thank you.
baking.
Happy baking. Bye.